Hey lovely people, so today we're going to be talking about Egypt and whether or not Egyptians are black, whether or not the native, indigenous people of Egypt are black or not, okay? So I posted a video about a year ago and it has a lot of hate on it. I will put the link in the description, so go ahead and click on it if you don't know what video I'm talking about. But if you've been here for a while, you know what video I'm talking about and you know how much hate is on it. So today, I got another hating comment as usual, but I really want to showcase someone who really did a great job of breaking the truth down. For someone, this person is National Deputy 9000. If you want to check him out, I pinned his comment on that video for now. Go ahead and subscribe to his channel. He doesn't have any videos, but everybody can use some support. But anyway, I just want to show what happened, okay? But another thing I want to say is, like, I usually, I put this little map thing here up for decoration, but today I'm going to use it for educational purposes, okay? So now, all right, let's just first things first. So this is a map. It's not like a map for education, it's actually for decoration, but since it's here, I'm going to use it for this video. So this is Africa. This is North Africa. This is Egypt. Egypt is in Africa, okay? It's right here. It's in Africa. Right here. Do you see this? It's right here. Right here. Okay? All right. Just gonna get that out the way for people who are confused about where Egypt is. Okay. Now I'll get that out the way. Now let me ask another question for y'all. Okay? Let me just ask another question. Now, when we think about America media, American representation abroad, when we think about who represents Americans and the American government, who do we see? We see a bunch of white people, right? Because those are the people who have colonized and controlled and taken over America. Turtle Island, which was the name that the native indigenous people of this land called their land, okay? Now, just because when we think of Americans, we think of white people, doesn't mean that these white people are native or indigenous, right? It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that. Just because they're here doesn't mean they've always been here. Native Americans were here and they are not white. They are not white, okay? All right, now, since we have that logic out of the way and we understand that, now let's think about Egypt. So today when we think about Egypt, we see the people represented in Egyptian media. They're often lighter skinned, Arab, European, and Asian people who have been in Egypt for a while. They are descendants of colonizers, just like white people in America are descendants of colonizers. They are not the native first indigenous people of Egypt, okay? They're not. No matter how much people want to believe that they are not. The first people ever came from Africa, came from East Africa, right around here, okay? Right below Egypt. So the first people of Egypt were definitely from Africa. They weren't from Asia, they weren't from Europe. They were from the same continent. The first people of Egypt were from Africa. Because the first people ever, the first Homo sapiens ever were from Africa, okay? They just were, okay? It's just logic. It's logic. This just blows my mind that I have to make another video. It just blows my mind, right? Blows my mind. It's logic, okay? Whew. Now that we got all of that out the way, I just want to get to the comment and read it, okay? So a hater, okay, I'm going to read it. Okay, so let me just read it. A hater says, appropriating culture much. Another point. Okay, so this person is obviously thinking that I am saying Black Americans are Egyptian. I am not saying that. What I am saying is there is a global African diaspora and a global Black African culture that is present. And yes, Black Americans, people from the Caribbean, Afro-Caribbeans, Afro-Latinos, anybody of African descent, Afro-Asians, anybody from African descent is a part of this African diasporic culture. Egypt is in that category. No, Egyptians are Black people. Black Americans are not the same, but we are part of a global African culture together in the same boat, right? Now, I said African culture is Black culture. Egypt is in Africa. Duh, right? And National Deputy 9000 says, you mean the way you European Americans claim ancient Greece and Rome. Same thing applies to you. You aren't above law, God, or any of the same Christians that you put on others just because you have white skin. This isn't the 1700s anymore. It's 2019. If people claiming that an ancient African country had black skinned African people in its culture is cultural appropriation, then every single white person who brings up ancient Greece and Rome as white European history are culturally appropriating too, right? And they say, yes, thank you so much for your comment. You broke it down really well. And other people have brought up this as well, but this is the only time I've been able to take a screenshot. All right, and so the hater says African culture is Black. So you mean nowadays Tunisians, Algerians, Moroccans, Libyans, and Egyptians are not to be considered African? I never saw any white man claiming Rome or ancient Greece unless they are from Greece or Italy. Where do you even get that? Okay, so number one, all indigenous people of Africa are Black, right? It's just how it works. It's just how geography works. If a country is in Africa and the first people come from Africa, then the first people to inhabit these African countries are Africans. And they come from East Africa, and I mean, it's indisputable that the first peoples were Black, period. The first human beings were Black. And that the first human beings come from Africa, they were definitely the first human beings to populate African countries, no matter if it's north, south, east, west. Okay? So the first people to populate these countries he's listing were Black. Okay? All right. So, as you can see, National Deputy says, so I'm talking about things I know nothing because I said you aren't God. Okay, this is extra. Okay, he said, like I said, if Black people saying ancient Egypt was Black African is cultural appropriation, then white Americans or any white person not directly from Greece or Rome claiming that as white European civilization are cultural appropriators as well. End of story. And it's true, right? Because no one, people from the WASPy countries, right? So Great Britain and all that, they look to ancient Greece and ancient Rome as a Renaissance period of cultural explosion, of innovation, of a time where much of humanity's or much of civilization's benefits and, really pivotal events and pivotal inventions come from this period. And if Black people from around the world want to claim ancient Egypt, they can do that too, because it's a part of a global African culture, a global Black African culture. Regardless of whether or not Egypt was colonized or not, like the indigenous and native people of Egypt, are still Black. But he goes on to say, National Deputy goes on to say that there's indigenous Black people in all those countries that you just named, still not understanding your point. And it says, okay, so then the hater says, Americans claiming Egypt civilization is part of their history. How desperate are you? End of story. First of all, we're not claiming as a part of our direct history. We're saying it's a part of a global African diasporic culture. It is because Egypt is in Africa, it is quite, literally and obviously and logically, and by default, it is a part of the African diaspora because it is in Africa. No matter how much non-Black people can colonize a place, it doesn't change the fact that it's still in Africa. Okay? So Black Americans aren't running around saying, yeah, we came from Egypt. No, we're not saying that. We're saying we are a part of a global African diasporic culture. It's simple as that. And white people do the same thing. We know he's talking about he doesn't know. The hater is talking about he doesn't know how. White people do the same thing, but they do it all the time. I mean, all these movies about ancient Greece and ancient Rome and blah, 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 the European, you know, they just tie it all together into European history. So what is wrong with people of the African diaspora claiming an African country and its culture and its history as a part of a global African history? Anyway, so he goes on to explain some more. You can just read the comments. But yeah, I just wanted to get on here and make this another one of these videos because, you know, y'all, it seems like this is a conversation started and people like to talk about this. So, you know, my video was an outlet for y'all to do that. But yeah, it's really quite simple and straight to the point. But no matter how much you speak of the truth, mainstream lies and media will, you know, switch it all up and brainwash people to believe otherwise. Okay, all right, thank you for being here, thank you for watching this video, and please subscribe, like, and share this video, and join the conversation. Leave a comment, leave a question. Okay, all right, see ya.